fast pace. So sometimes every time you slow down and things will come. You know, a lot of the time, just stay focused and be able to make right decisions.
Meanwhile, the career of the Mini Tyson, as fans called him, was gaining momentum. In 2 years, he easily improved his record to 11-0, knocking out 10 opponents, many of whom had never been knocked out before. The only one who managed to make it to a decision was the veteran Jermaine Miraz. Somehow, he managed not to get knocked out, although there were knockdowns in the 3rd and 5th rounds. Unfortunately, recordings of these fights have not survived, and the first recorded professional performance of Davis was his fight with Filipino Ricky Dulay, with a record of 8-1. Gervonta was incredibly fierce and swift like a wild animal. His powerful body shots immediately pushed Ricky to the ropes and made him forget about any counteractions. It seemed like one or two more heavy punches to the solar plexus and Dulay would fold like a sheet of paper. But it wasn't that simple. Davis decided to act creatively and soon caught his opponent moving forward. Bam! The first left straight put the Filipino on his knees, and the second forced the referee to stop the fight. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. That's it. Just 1.5 months later, Tank was ready for another epic knockout. This time, the one to help him with that was an experienced Mexican, Cristobal Cruz, with over 50 professional fights. However, victories among them were barely more than half. In the first round, the young prodigy secured a knockdown and within a few minutes finished off the worthy veteran. After the knockout in the fight with Cruz, Gervonta's record turned to 13-0, and in December, he returned to the ring once again. His opponent was Mexican Luis Sanchez. Until recently, he had been on a beautiful 6-fight winning streak, but then he fought for the WBO, NABO title and lost by knockout. In my opinion, deciding to fight Tank right after a stoppage loss was foolish, but it seemed Luis felt confident in his abilities. Gervonta toyed with Sanchez throughout the first half of the fight, but after the midpoint, he picked up the pace and finished him in the 8th round. After a bright end to the year, the future champion took a 4-month break. After resting, Davis decided to continue his streak against Mexican boxers and agreed to fight Guillermo Avila with a record of 15-5 and a 2-3 score in the last 5. Avila decided to go all out, but Gervonta didn't appreciate the idea and immobilized the Mexican in the middle of the fight. As you remember, Tank had a tough childhood, and the blame for this lies with his parents. However, the boxer never held a grudge against them. Even after being placed under his uncle's care, Gervonta often visited home and tried to spend time with his mother. As he grew older, he began inviting her to his fights. To this day, she can often be seen as an honored guest in the front row at many of her son's performances. The last test before his first title fight was a meeting with Mario Macias, who the promoters objectively offered to the prospect of devouring. In no university did a guy with a record of 28-18 have a chance of lasting even half the fight with Tank. Moreover, the bout took place not at 130 pounds, but in the lightweight division, where Davis had even more power for a knockout. The very first move from Tank made Mario kneel and beg for mercy. Davis's team started 2017 in the gym, preparing for the fight of his life. It was about the title clash between Gervonta and the unbeaten IBF champion, Puerto Rican Jose Pedraza. At that time, Sniper was on a 22-fight winning streak, had defended the title twice, and was considered a formidable opponent. Pedraza's only apparent weakness was the lack of knockout power. The bout was crucial for both fighters. With a victory over Jose, Davis could finally step into the big leagues and start demanding fights with top contenders.
We moved forward, we built it. I believe Jay Rice will take
advantage was worse than that of a heavyweight debutant, and a victory over a dangerous prospect, especially Floyd Mayweather's protege, could fix that. Thus, Pedraza was willing to promote the fight by any means necessary.
He said he would like to say that he's sorry for Davis when he signed to be with the promotion because on January 14th, when it takes away his undefeated record, it's going to be like he made with him.
Now, all that remained was to win, but did he have a chance? Davis punished him for this and knocked him out in the 7th round.
My team put a hard work. So that's, us all the time. It means a lot. And also having a great promoter, a great boxer, man can make you feel great.
The journey was far from easy, but for a young man with a goal and support, nothing is impossible. However, all the most important victories of Tank were still ahead, and this belt served as the starting point for them. Usually, it takes at least a few weeks before a boxer gets the name of their next opponent, but Gervonta knew this even before stepping into the ring with Pedraza. But how did this happen? The fact is, Davis was not the main IBF contender. This role belonged to the unbeaten British Commonwealth champion, Leon Walsh, but Floyd helped his boys skip the queue. The Brit was deprived of a timely title fight, but he was promised to be the first to face the champion. This is exactly how it happened. For the first title defense, the American, along with his entire team, went to the opponent's territory in Britain. Generally, fighting on an opponent's home turf always carries the risk of being robbed by the judges, but fortunately, Davis is not one to let others decide the outcome of his fights. Davis's first problem began even before the opening bell. At the official weigh-in ceremony, he missed the weight limit by 2 pounds and was given a couple of hours to cut the rest. Tank returned earlier and tried to step on the scales again, but this attempt also failed. Finally, on the 3rd attempt, Gervonta showed the necessary figures and was admitted to the fight almost at the last minute.
He's on a steady legs. He looks as though he's going to be a boss.
The fight didn't last even 3 full rounds. In the first round, Davis demonstrated a cosmic difference in speed and footwork. Walsh, with his decent anthropometry, couldn't even touch the opponent, while the champion easily threw jabs and immediately moved out of the line of attack. The Brit hoped that at some point the champion would slow down and give him a chance, but that moment never came. In the 3rd round, Davis caught him with a huge left and immediately followed up with several punches. The damage was so significant that the Brit kept getting up, wobble and struggled to lift his hands. Gervonta didn't give him time to recover and simply finished him.
Steady legs. He looks as though he's going to be a boss. It's all on this one.
As usual, in the post-fight interview, Davis credited all the glory to his mentor.
Great. I ended my campaign from Las Vegas before the Mayweather trainer. He was a lot. He made a lot of
Tank knocked out Walsh in May, and by early July, there were talks that he was set to perform on the undercard of his mentor, who was returning to boxing for a money fight with Conor McGregor. Former WBO champion Roman Martinez, who had recently lost to Vasily Lomachenko, was supposed to be Davis's opponent. Later, it turned out that Martinez couldn't make weight in time and needed a replacement. The candidate was a young beaten boxer from Nicaragua, Francis Fonseca. During the weigh-in, Tank encountered problems again. He weighed in at 132 pounds. As before, the IBF gave him 2 additional hours, but Davis refused to cut the weight and was stripped of the belt. Now, Fonseca could claim it, though this didn't make the task of beating Gervonta much easier. As expected, the champion was too much for the prospect. Fonseca's meager arsenal only put the audience to sleep, and his punches were as powerful as little babies. Meanwhile, Davis acted sharply and creatively. His attacks came from different directions and at unpleasant angles, especially the uppercuts, which he tried to crack the opponent's head like a nut. In In the fourth round, the American decided to entertain the fans with showboating in the style of Pete Roy Jones, but Fonseca didn't take advantage of the situation even then. By the eighth round, Tank got tired of playing around and knocked the opponent down, and he didn't get up. And the fight has been stopped. Unfortunately, but not particularly joyful. 3 months later, Davis unexpectedly attracted media attention, but unfortunately not due to his professional career. The champion got into a fight with his childhood friend Anthony Wheeler and inflicted serious injuries that put the guy in hospital. According to the victim, Tank attacked him, but what actually happened is unclear. The police immediately took an interest in the case and it quickly got to court. But the situation was resolved there. The parties reached an agreement and the case was closed. After the issues with Wheeler, Gervonta could return to fighting. A big surprise was his statement that his standard camp was being moved from his native Baltimore to Florida, and the boxer
건강한 아름다움을 체험하는 모든 순간을
시합 준비해. 그럼 땅에 붙이고.
늘 가까이 있을 나만의 올리브영 씹어주면 HPD 파우치 지금 받아가세요. Welcome to headquarters. This is where Riley's emotions work.
Inside out succeeding.
There's a lot of memories that need some extra processing. And reason knows Today Productions.
나의 꿈을 책임지는 팀을 소개합니다.
What I do is make sweet dreams for Riley. My next hit dream will be so great the studio won't know I hit him. I thought it was uncool.
자, 프랭크. 야.
Accidentally uncool, which is very uncool.
디즈니 픽사의 드림 프로덕션. 지금 스트리밍 중.
트위스트 시작.
근데 디지털 그게 어렵겠어? 디지털이 못 배우는구나.
배우는
자,
누구나 할 수
하트.
있어. 이제 집에서도 다 해.
디지털 쪽이야.
우측.
디지털 앞에 더 당당해질 수 있도록 찾아가는 시니어 디지털 스쿨. 시니어를 디지털 일상으로 더 가깝게 카카오.
So would now train not only with Calvin Ford, but also with Kevin Cunningham. Formerly a police officer and now a coach, Kevin raised several top boxers, Corey Spinks and Devin Alexander, and in recent years he had worked with Adrian Broner, who introduced him to Gervonta. In terms of fights, Gervonta wasn't most interested in the belt, so he decided to get a contender's bout in March 2018 at any cost. He's the top 5 boxer, Billy Dibb.
Hopefully, I'm trying to get my belt back. I'm supposed to be fighting. Who I say Billy Dibbs for the belt.
뒤로.
To fight the guy that got the belt.
Okay.
So, definitely.
이제
준비 시작.
Yeah, March.
There had been rumors about this fight before, but the fighters' paths always diverged. Unfortunately, the same happened this time. Instead of a solid top contender like Billy Dibb, Davis got Argentinian Jesus Cuellar as an opponent. The guys were set to fight for the vacant WBA super title, which suited everyone involved.
자, 올려.
Cuellar was a good boxer and had solid experience, but his modest size and age, well over 30, didn't inspire confidence in his victory. The slow Cuellar didn't react to Davis's sharp attacks and was just knocked out in the third round. As soon as Davis draped the belt over his shoulder, began the talks about potential fights with other champions. There were several names. Perhaps the most interesting idea was to organize a meeting between Gervonta and Vasily Lomachenko, especially since Tank wasn't against testing his strength.
For me, if
셋,
the man I'm in the fight,
넷,
you know.
다섯, 여섯,
My team, I have
일곱,
a great team. I
여,
think I have one of the
아홉,
best teams in boxing. So
스물,
if they
하나,
go and they say so,
둘,
then I'm with it.
셋,
Gervonta's attitude towards
다섯,
Lomachenko
여섯,
was always
일곱,
contradictory. He didn't
여덟,
see him as one of the
아홉,
best boxers of his time,
서른,
but rather was
하나,
surprised at how
둘,
people could praise a guy
셋,
with just 10
넷,
professional fights.
다섯,
Besides, the
여섯,
champion believed that their
일곱,
potential fight was beneficial
여덟,
only for
아홉,
Vasily, as his
마흔,
days in boxing
하,
were already numbered.
둘, 셋, 넷, 다섯, 여섯, 일곱, 여덟, 아홉, 스텝.
You know, his door is closed on boxing, so how many big fights he can. And I am one of the biggest
자,
fighters
바로 이제
than him, so he wanna cash out.
I don't know about you, but I would have been incredibly interested to see their meeting between 2017 and 2019. One is technician to the core, with possibly one of the best defensive techniques and
정말
footwork
스트레치죠?
in boxing history. The other is an insanely powerful puncher with good cardio, high fighting IQ, and incredible speed. Even on paper, such a fight looks phenomenal, and in the ring, it could have been a real blockbuster, but it was never organized. Perhaps the reason was mutual dislike between Davis and Lomachenko's promoters, Floyd Mayweather and Bob Arum. These two have a long history of conflict that didn't end even after money left to rank. On the other hand, we don't even know if negotiations for this fight took place, so it's pointless to discuss it now. Another potential opponent for Gervonta was the champion from the lower weight class, Abner Mares. In 2016, the American with Mexican roots defeated Jesus Cuellar and became the WBA champion, then successfully defended the title. WBA wanted to organize a unification bout with Davis, and both boxers showed interest, but Tank once again showed his unruly nature and got into trouble. In September, the champion was in Washington resting at Rose Bar Lounge, where he racked up a bill of $10,000 for the evening. The enormous bill led to an argument with a man, which soon escalated into a fight in the parking lot. Eyewitnesses called the police, and the troublemakers were detained. Soon, the conflict was resolved, but much time was lost, and Gervonta couldn't fight again in 2018. While the Baltimore native was having fun and negotiating with authorities, Mares fought Leo Santa Cruz and lost. But the fight with Davis still interested him. For this reason, Abner waited for his potential opponent to resolve all his issues, then signed the contract for the fight. The meeting was set for February 9 in San Diego, and nothing promised trouble until Mares withdrew. It soon became clear that Abner had a bad sparring session and suffered a very serious injury, a detached retina. Many athletes end their careers with such a diagnosis, so a potential meeting with Davis was completely out of the question. Promoters immediately began looking for a replacement and soon announced the name of the new contender. It was a tall Mexican, Hugo Ruiz, on a 3-fight win streak. Gervonta cornered and disabled his opponent already in the first round. A few months later, his return was announced for July against mandatory contender Ricardo Nunez. The fight was set to take place in Davis's hometown of Baltimore, where tens of thousands of fans had been waiting for him. Who is Ricardo Nunez? An unremarkable Panamanian guy with a 21-2 record who passed a 10-win streak and thus deserved the chance to try his luck in the big league. Nunez missed a lot, and Gervonta took advantage and punished him. By the second round, the contender was out of strength and was finished. Since Davis won the IBF belt, he had a target on his back, and many fighters wanted to make a name for themselves at the expense of the inexperienced but media-attractive young man. Especially often, Gervonta was called out by featherweight division champions wanting to fight for belt unification. One such enthusiast was Leo Santa Cruz, the Mexican king of the lighter weight classes. His clash with Devontae promised to be exciting and dynamic, but unfortunately, it couldn't be organised in 2019. Then Davis received an offer from the WBA to move up to the lightweight division and fight for another vacant belt. As you can imagine, such opportunities don't come often, so Devontae quickly agreed and signed the contract. It must be said the opponent he got was far from a walkover. Yuriorkis Gamboa was a Cuban Olympic champion and a top boxer in 2019, riding a 4-fight win streak. Gamboa's amateur career was illustrious. Victories at the Pan American Games and World Cup, bronze at the World Championships, and of course, gold at the Athens Olympics. Unfortunately, he couldn't support his family with just these achievements, so one day, Gamboa, along with his teammates, fled Cuba and ended up in Germany, where his professional career began. Thanks to his incredible background, Yuriorkis quickly rose to the top of the sport and won a super featherweight division belt, then moved up to 135 pounds, where he faced the young Crawford in 2014. The fight was tough for both sides, but in the middle of the bout, Terence found the keys and managed to knock out the Cuban in the 9th round. Since then, Gamboa had lost only once, but hadn't fought for a belt again until the WBA offered him a chance to contest the vacant one against the young tank. The fight with Gamboa was long and not the most eventful. It ended with an epic knockout in the 12th round.
Coming to this fight, I knew that Gamboa was a tough opponent. Everybody was ready for him. I know, as you know, as you see in the ring, catching my turn, but he still was alert. So I know they were different from any opponent that I fought before.
It soon became known that Gamboa's caution was not due to fear of Davis's punches, but a leg injury he sustained after the knockdown in the 2nd round. The veteran partially tore his Achilles tendon, preventing him from working at full capacity and mostly defending himself. However, this fact did not greatly overshadow Davis's move, who now officially became a champion in 2 weight classes. But what was he about to do next? In his post-fight speech, Tank made it clear that he was ready to fight all the top contenders who wanted to test themselves.
I'm the top dog. As you know, there's no safety on this clock, so bring them on.
However, only 2 specific names interested him: Tevin Farmer and Leo Santa Cruz. With Farmer, the champion had a conflict that began back in 2017. Then Davis was stripped of the IBF belt for missing weight, and Tevin contested it 3 months later against Kenichi Ogawa. The Japanese won by split decision, but the result was later overturned due to Ogawa failing a steroid test. The unfortunate IBF belt was vacant again, and Farmer won it against Billy Dibb in the summer of 2018. Since then, potential bouts between Farmer and Davis were almost monthly, but they never reached even the negotiation stage between the teams. Periodically, the Baltimore native hinted that he was interested in such a show.
I mean, me fighting challenge is gonna be amazing. I think so.
뒤로 3번.
Nothing came of it.
뒤로 3번
In
보세요.
2019, after another
뒤로
victory,
2번 보세요.
Farmer explained the situation in
앞으로
detail
3번,
and
2번.
convinced fans that this fight was
스위치.
unlikely
앞으로
to
3번.
happen.
뒤로 2번. 뒤로 2번 보세요.
He said one thing, he said he want me.
앞으로 3번, 뒤로 2번.
Behind him said something else.
자, 스위치 풀하기 셋.
Tevin Farmer, let it have it be say, I'm gonna move Javante the way I want to move Javante. Let's read in between the lines. Eddie had said there were 2 offers, saying that Tevin Farmer want to fight, and it's constantly excuses, you know. So I move forward from there. I move forward from that fight. If it happened, it happened. If it don't, I don't give a damn.
Thus, of the 2 potential opponents, Davis had only one left, simplifying the task for managers. But why was the fight against Leo Santa Cruz so interesting to Javante? There were many reasons. Firstly, the Baltimore native was interested in opponents with some media presence, and the lighter weight classes in boxing always had significant problems with this. Cruz was one of the few who managed to make a name for himself and gathered a fan base, which was crucial for putting the fight to success.
3개, 백 2개. 자, 얼굴 셋. 가슴. 백. 자, 아래 위 아래 3개, 백 2개, 잽잽 2. 자, 빨리 와. 1, 2, 쭉 뻗어. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2.
With his last defeat in 2016 in a very close fight.
잽잽 2.
Decision. The main
손
achievement
붙여.
of this
2 and 2.
fight belts in 4 weight classes from
자,
bantamweight
1,
to
2.
super featherweight.
스위치. 어깨 빼고 부드럽게 잽.
Super title,
2개,
Davis was moving
3개,
with gap while
백 2개.
managed to beat
잽.
especially
얼굴.
by knockout.
가슴.
It would be
배. 자, 위 아래.
of his career.
아래 위.
The Davis Cruz fight
3개.
immediately after the
백
fall
2개.
this sentence
잽.
penalty,
잽잽 2.
unexpected happened. The
1, 2.
by the coronavirus,
왕쇼, 왕기 3.
which temporarily paralyzed all
1, 2, 1, 2.
events, including boxing.
2, 1, 2.
Davis and his girlfriend
잽. 잽, 잽.
when they had
1, 2.
a heated argument. He
대시.
was so enraged by his partner's behavior that he grabbed her by the neck and dragged her off the stands, later apologizing on social media, stating, "I would never hit my mother or my children." Fortunately, he faced no serious legal consequences and could sit out the lockdown without incident. The first signs of resuming activities began in the summer, and on July 22nd, it was officially announced that Javante would face Leo Santa Cruz in late October in Connecticut. Later, the fight was moved to San Antonio. To prepare for possibly the toughest opponent in his career, Javante brought many different sparring partners to his camp. One of them was a very inexperienced newcomer named Frank Martin. There was no word.
둘. 하나. 자, 바디 둘. 어깨 이제 많이 안 돼. 하나. 앞으로 빼. 네가 뭐 어시가면 안 돼. 좀 편하게
But
좀
at the
어시가게
top of the
눌러.
lightweight division as champion and contender. All right, we'll
자,
talk
얼굴
about
둘.
it later. But for now, let's return to
너무
the
들어가잖아.
Cruz
세워,
fight.
세워.
To better promote the fight, Showtime released 2 parts of a
Ah.
documentary film about the boxers'
Okay,
preparations,
look,
sell a
look.
decent number of PPVs. Everyone expected the boxers to show
Ah.
at least an interesting fight, but no
Oh,
one
yeah.
could have imagined that we would
Hey,
witness
look.
such a show. The boxers fought on equal terms until the middle of the fight when Javante decapitated Cruz with a terrifying uppercut.
I want to say the first couple rounds I was still
너무
I was
딱딱하게 부드럽게
I was a little cold.
아파?
I want to say because
Apo.
those shots that he
Apo.
touched me with that I ain't supposed to get touched with.
아파? 하체를 치는 거야. 바디 실러.
I started
Body.
settling down. I started listening
Body.
to Floyd,
Body.
Coach, and things like that. So
바디.
that's basically
Body.
happening once I started
Body.
settling down.
아파.
A few days
Oh,
after
oh,
the
oh,
fight,
yeah.
the
Oh,
PPV
yeah.
information
Oh,
was
yeah.
released.
Side
The
down.
fight sold 225,000 paid streams, generating $16 million in revenue, which, by the way, was a
자,
brilliant
섀도우 시작. 부드럽게.
especially for non-heavyweight boxers. Besides the money, Davis added a great name to his collection and held belts in 2 weight categories simultaneously. The next obvious step should have been defending at least one of these titles, but which one? We had to wait a long time for the answer because Davis got into big trouble again. In November 2020, Javante was driving at high speed
움직여, 많이
through the
움직여,
streets
많이.
of his native Baltimore and at one point ran a red light. As a result, the boxer crashed into a Toyota Corolla with young people, including a pregnant girl.
움직여.
They were hospitalized with various injuries, but unfortunately, serious harm was avoided thanks to the
자,
airbags.
바로.
Davis was not only driving that Lamborghini when that crash
이거, 이거.
happened,
자,
but he
스텝.
was also at fault.
네.
This video captures the
네.
shocking moment
아,
as
네.
Davis allegedly plows into
잽,
a
잽,
fence
쭉.
after crashing into another car.
The
제.
investigation
완투.
his guilt, and the police had to give him his peace.
완투 오퍼.
March 2021, Javante was charge of 14 wins, but he continued to insist on his innocence. Tank was allowed to continue his career and Davis probably took advantage of this opportunity by announcing of his new opponent. As mentioned earlier, it was assumed that the battle labels would defeat existing opponents, but he decided to go even further and move up to super lightweight. Tank was the unbeaten WBA champion. Chance against the great Javante, though calling El Azteca walk in the park would be an injustice. In the 7 years of his professional career, Mario had 26 fights, winning one. Interestingly, he started in the super bantamweight division, which given his 6 foot sounds insane. But he didn't stay in this weight class long, and quickly moved up to 140 pounds. He became the WBA champion at 40 pounds and successfully defended the title a year later. Despite all his achievements before the fight with Javante, Mario was considered a serious underdog at some point. Odds for him were plus 380. Davis was at the right distance, but once he managed to close in, Mario found him shortly before the end of the fight. He was finished. Davis could defend either of them and decided to face the top contender in the 135-pound division. This role belonged to the young Orlando Romero, who earned his title shot in a fight against Anthony Higgett. The official fight announcement came on October 6th and the set for December 9th. Everything was going smoothly until 2 weeks before the date when the news broke that Romero was accused of sexual assault and had to withdraw. Thus, the tournament was left without a main fight 14 days before the event. Surprisingly, a replacement was found very quickly. The contender status was given to a young Mexican Isaac Cruz. Was unbeaten in 18 fights. No one took a chance against one of the best boxers in the division. Everyone expected a quick Javante, and only the champion himself understood that this guy could be very dangerous.
너무 충분해. 답답하다. 부드럽게 좀 해가지고. 너무 잠깐만 다쳐 나중에 쎄. 집에 내가 죽여. 시차가 그러잖아. 너무 부추다니라고. 그렇게 너무 일찍 쓰는 너무 투가해. 그러면 스파를 때 부담스러워. 때려도 못하고. 바로 살랑 자 페인팅 페인팅 들어오면서 그래 아래 위 아래 후야호 완수한 모습 하드 굿치하고 바로 올려 앞으로 그쵸 양쪽으로 안쪽으로 같이 잡아 여기서 뭘 할 거야 생각을 해봐 그러지 마세요 깨면 더 맞겠지 붙이라 했어 땡기면 안쪽으로
He praised Cruz and jokingly said that he didn't even plan to fight this
가진 연습을 해야지
again.
자 클럽 볼게요 했어 하고.
Ain't no head getting good. I'm strong tonight.
아직도 될것 같은데 아직 그러네.
Hell no.
Whether it was the broken left hand or Cruz's skull made of alien materials, it's unclear. But the phenomenal streak of 16 knockouts was interrupted, and there's nothing to be done about it. However, from Davis's post-fight interview, it was clear that he was just happy to win and go home with the belt, and it didn't bother him much whether the fight ended early or not. After defeating Cruz, Davis found himself at a crossroads, not knowing who he would fight next, but unexpectedly, the announcement of the fight between Devin Haney and George Kambosos put everything in place. The guys were supposed to fight for the undisputed lightweight championship, and Gervonta really wanted to face the winner.
I want to get the winner out of Devin and Campbell.
Considering Tank's incredible win streak, epic style, and phenomenal media presence, his fight against the undisputed champion could become the biggest event of the year. However, Floyd and his team decided that it would be more profitable for Gervonta to fight Rolando Romero, who had resolved his legal issues and was ready to fight. This decision greatly angered Davis, and the seeds of doubt planted in him long ago took root. Gervonta decided to leave Mayweather and handle his affairs independently, as money once did. The champion argued his decision by saying it was time to grow up and step out of his mentor's shadow.
I can never take nothing away from Floyd because he the one got me out. He put me in a position to make money. You know what I mean? I never can, go against him. But sometimes it's time to, it's time to grow up and become your own man. That's all. I never said nothing like anything bad or like too bad or anything like that. But it's time to, be my own man, handle my business, like, hands over my own, my own business. It's time for 7 years. You know what I mean? It's time for me to spread your wings. Yeah.
Thus, the meeting with Rowley was supposed to be the last joint endeavor of Gervonta and Floyd. As for the fight itself, Romero got a title shot in just 14 fights, but his merits as a boxer were minimal. The main reason this guy was wanted in a high-profile fight was his incredibly long-term
자, 바로 봐주세요.
Steve.
네. 자, 제대로 해주세요. 야.
You hear that? I'm gonna knock you the yeah. And now I'm what, 14-0? I'm fighting out Fairview.
속여. 뻔하잖아. 그럼 딱 나가잖아.
Everybody
속이면
see
되잖아.
that. And simple as that. We gotta
힙박 보여보고. 네. 속이면서 떼고 아래 위에 막. 뛰지 마. 걸어. 빨리 그러면 된다고. 서 있으면 안 돼. 요즘 타면서 고르는 요즘 떼고 진짜 죽는다. 떼고 던지면 된다. 아픈 사람 하면 아픈 사람. 떼고 가면서 던지면 된다. 뛰려면 부리가 돼.
See Romero as a top-level boxer and believed he earned the title shot solely for his comical and highly inappropriate trash talk.
I don't think he's awkward. I just think that he's a fighter that just started fighting. Yes, you know how when somebody first comes to the gym, they like, when somebody first comes to the gym, they've been coming for like a little minute, so they think they nice now. It's different levels, you know what I mean? It's different levels. When sport boxing, it's
너무 틀어야지 않고. 그게 아니라
you got somebody
그게 아니라
that since they were 7, and somebody that been doing this since they were 17.
So it was one word against another. Who was right? The first minutes were spent on reconnaissance, but when Romero got tired of waiting for his chance, he jumped at Davis and was immediately knocked out.
괜찮아. 모르고 오, 방어는 잘 막아봐야 돼. 방어는 그냥 막 예상대 방어는 잘해야지. 이게 아니야. 바로
Davis's words about Romero's low level were confirmed. But as a showman, Rolly performed brilliantly. Their fight sold nearly 300,000 PPVs and generated over $20 million in profit, which was the best result of the champion's career. Now that Gervonta became a free agent, all roads were open to him, and he could get almost any fight. Due to his absence in the super lightweight division, the Baltimore native was stripped of his belt, so he could fully focus on one weight class. I think the idea of fighting for the undisputed title was still on his mind, but circumstances made such a bout impossible. Davis understood everything perfectly and decided to focus on something more real, namely the long-awaited clash with Ryan Garcia. Calling this meeting long-awaited is no exaggeration, because fans have been asking to bring these guys together for 5 years, ever since they both shone in the super featherweight division. Technically, nothing prevented them from fighting back then, but there was little sense in this bout. Why extinguish stars against each other? Instead, they were allowed to grow and spark a conflict that interested millions of people worldwide. The greatest interest in promoting the fight was shown by Garcia, who had been calling out Gervonta all these years. Two round, you're going to sleep.
Man, I really want to be a man of my word. I want to fight Tate. I know you are, worried about that one, but I'm ready for you.
I'm looking for a number in particular. I'm sure it'll be a lot of money. I'm just looking to make the fight happen.
And these are just a couple of interviews, not to mention the tweets, Instagram posts, and much more. Ryan practically lived the dream of this fight and did everything to get it anytime, anywhere. Considering this, I can't even imagine what emotion Garcia felt when negotiations for a bout with Davis began in the fall of 2022. I'm not sure, but probably at that moment, the Flash was the happiest person on earth. By the end of November, the fighters announced to fans that they were going to fight in early 2024, and everything pointed to an April bout. But before that, Gervonta wanted to have another fight in January. Initially, it was assumed that Garcia would also perform at this event, but later plans slightly changed, and Ryan preferred to just wait for Tank. Soon, the name of Davis's next opponent was announced, the IBF Super Featherweight Champion, Hector Luis Garcia. The Dominican didn't stand out much except for his clean 16-0 record and a couple of tough opponents, but they were in a lower weight class. Most likely, his contender status was due to his perfect record, which plays a big role in promoting fights. In early December, the official press conference for the fight was held, and nothing foreshadowed trouble. But we remember well how good Gervonta is at getting into trouble. On December 27, a call came from Davis's home to the police, where his girlfriend, model Vanessa Posso, claimed that during an argument, the boxer raised his hand against her. Soon, the police arrived, and the champion had to go to the station, and his companion gave her statement. A few hours later, Gervonta posted a small bail and was released. The wrath of the fans poured down on him. Tank insisted he had never hit either Vanessa or the child, but not everyone believed him. Fortunately, a few days later, the model admitted that her words were a mistake and that Davis hadn't touched anyone. If this hadn't happened, not only the fight with Garcia, but also the entire career of the Baltimore native could have been in jeopardy. Although the situation was resolved peacefully, Gervonta experienced severe stress, and it was unclear how well he would perform against Garcia. Serious concerns about the champion's condition arose in early January when he showed up to the official stare-down in a strange state, seemingly under the influence of alcohol. This episode significantly increased the Dominican's chances in the eyes of fans, but when the fighters got into the ring, everything fell into place. The fight started calmly, but later Gervonta picked up the pace and landed several powerful combinations, forcing his opponent to quit.
I was a little surprised, but when I caught him, I knew it was like he was hurt. He was hurt bad. He's a fighter, so he didn't want to show it, you know what I mean? So I knew he was hurt though.
In the same post-fight interview, Gervonta delighted all fans by announcing his preparation for the fight against Garcia in April.
I'm ready for the fight. It's scheduled for April. I'm here. He's been training. He's been talking.
또 강하게 가까이 끝나면 걸어줘야 돼. 가까이. 너무 징그럽다. 아무리 틀어지면 피가 안 들리니까. 먼저 코 헤딩밖에 안 맞을 거야. 겁을 먹으니까 안 되는 거야. 느끼면 그렇게 많이 누르는데 중간에 있어야 돼. 여자들도 힘도 안 돼. 도움이 돼.
February, Gervonta had issues with the old case involving the car accident in which he didn't admit guilt. The proceedings
이렇게 하면 안 돼. 이렇게 하면 당연히
for
맞아.
more than
쉬워요.
2 years, and the police
시상을 우트로 봐봐. 뒷눈을 보지 말고 옆으로 봐. 옆으로.
evidence of his
가 돌려.
the fight with Garcia could
아니
have been
이렇게
the last
그리고 다 달려보잖아.
take, and he couldn't afford to mess it up. Perhaps for this reason, the mandatory condition for the fight was a rehydration clause for Garcia, limiting him to no more than 10 pounds
올라오는 거 막,
after the
돌리는 거
official weigh-in.
맞고. 오, 대박이다.
He justified his demand by saying he didn't
이게
want to
연습이
fight
필요해.
the weight bully.
보면서 막아야
The
되니까.
press conference took place in early March.
100% 다 마우스 쓰면은 거의 마우스 80% 마우스 있단 말이야.
Visible animosity or even
그래, 이렇게 하는 거 맞아. 더 잘하는 거야. 그리고 뛰어 살리면서 그래, 기술을 걸어야 돼. 승리 엎어, 바지, 눈높이 맞춰주면서 딱 던지면서 눈높이를 맞춰서 딱 하고 뛰어 살면서 뛰어. 그리고 뛰어보고 살려서 던지면서 아래에 뒷줄만 살면서 긴장을 뛰어서 훅 걸어보고 거는 걸 맞아야지. 그냥 걸어버리고 아니 좀 강하게 들어야 돼. 또몸 세우면 안 된다고 했죠. 몸 낚시가 있지 때리고 낚시면 배도 보고 다 보인다고 했죠. 아니면 그냥 힘든 없이 들어가서 막 하면서 깨 살리면서 질끈만 막 페인팅 깨 이런 거 소개해야지. 다리가 움직이면서
I guess, again, we just have to wait and see when I'm in there why I'm so special. You can't see it, but you'll see it once he's in there. It's like you're laughing, but I'm dead serious. It's
엎어.
coming, and it's gonna be over.
또 흔들고 누가 흔들면
Okay, that's fine. All right, then we both got it.
빡! 나가야 돼. 그 유튜브 가야 돼. 내가 이렇게 했구나 봐야 돼. 자, 마지막 한 번씩 한 번. 네. 마지막.
And it was time to deliver. Garcia pressed the champion, but completely forgot about defense. By the second round, he was knocked down, and in the seventh, he took a liver shot and was knocked out.
Everything was exciting, man. I was excited to be a part of this event. I remember coming up in the Golden Glove, and I seen Floyd fight at the MGM, and it was crazy. I actually just seen Rihanna perform at the Super Bowl, and I was like, that was gonna be me one day.
하트 낮은 딱 잡아서
He was indeed the stronger fighter. From a sporting perspective, this victory might not have been the most important in Davis's career.
긴장한단 말이야.
Everything turned out perfectly. The fight sold 1.2 million PPVs and generated over $100 million in revenue. Insane numbers reflecting the worldwide interest of boxing fans. After such a brilliant performance, the champion definitely deserved time to rest and recover, but he had another fight ahead, though not in the ring. Less than 2 weeks later, Davis appeared in court where several people would decide his future. Fortunately, the judge was reasonable and didn't destroy the career of a still young and ambitious guy. Instead of real jail time, Tech received 3 years of probation, 90 days of house arrest, and 200 hours of community service. The place chosen for house arrest was the apartment of his coach, who replaced Gervonta's father, Calvin Ford. The boxer only needed to spend 3 months in peace and solitude with his thoughts, but already on June the 2nd, he was arrested. Tech violated the terms of his arrest and later criticized the judge, for which he was rightly sentenced to 1.5 months in prison. Davis was released on July 15, and immediately learned that during his absence, his penthouse was robbed. The damage amounted to nearly $3 $3.5 million, and the list of stolen items included not only various trinkets, but also expensive cars. The perpetrators were never found.
오케이, 잘했어. 하려고 노력을 해야
After
돼.
his release, Davis did not announce any new fights and rarely appeared in the media. Additionally, in May, it was revealed that he had split up with Vanessa Wilson, who falsely accused him of domestic violence. Later, everything was confirmed. Gervonta found himself free in every sense, thinking about what to do next. Until the end of 2023, there was no news about Davis or his fights, except that his trainer was also jailed for a while for assault with a weapon. Then on December 27th, the boxer announced that he had converted to Islam, now known as Abdul Wahid, which translates to servant of the one. Many media personalities supported Davis in his new beginnings. The new year of 2024 began, and there was still no news about Davis' return to action.
나 긴장하지 않아. 되게 많이
There was a rumor that Arab sheikhs wanted to see Davis at their boxing event, to which the Baltimore native responded immediately, saying he would fight if they sent him 2 Ferraris. The sheikh's response was a promise to send 2 gloves and nothing more, so Gervonta never made it to the Arab event. Fans were starting to worry and demanded that the star finally find an opponent, and in April, we were finally pleased. Gervonta announced that he was ready to put on the gloves and get to work, and he would be assisted by the undefeated Frank Martin, whom Tank had known since the fight against Leo Santa Cruz. Over the years, the Ghost made a lot of progress, moved from 140 pounds to 135, and brought his record to 18-0, though he had never fought for a title of one of the major organizations. In 2023, he had such an opportunity. At that time, Shakur Stevenson was looking for opponents, and Martin was one of the many offered a fight against Shakur. But Frank preferred to wait for a more profitable contract. Not a bad gamble. In his recent fights, the Ghost defeated some decent prospects, handing them their first career losses, but now he was facing Davis, which was a whole different level. However, trainer Eric James promised to prepare the guy to the fullest and present the Baltimore native, who they had been preparing for a long time, with some unpleasant surprises. Did it work out? Frank started the fight with accuracy, coupled with
그러니까 너무 많은 걸 커버하려고 그래.
However, as Tank increased his pressure, Martin's confidence dwindled until eventually Davis destroyed him with a one-punch knockout in the 8th round. The 30th victory and 28th knockout in the career of the unparalleled puncher and champion Gervonta Davis.
Yeah, he had decent power, but he was weighing down as the fight was going on. That's how I know that, you know what I mean, he would break it down. You know what I mean? So that's when I started picking it up more. My coach was telling me to pick it up more.
But what now? All roads are still
과감성 좀 뽀뽀해가지고 사람은 안 맞을 수가 없어. 사람 다 맞아.
decided who they
우리나라
want to see them.
귀신이 아니라 세계 최고압에 다 맞게 돼 있어.
The most popular
뭐 강하게 나가고 냉정하고 상대가 진짜 나는 진짜 안 사니까 나도 모르게 긴장이 더 빨리 된단 말이야.
a clash with
그런 걸
Lomachenko.
뭐야 교육하고 상대를 구별하는 거야.
IBF title.
복싱이 싸움 이런 거 제일로 적합하지만은
the most appealing to
프로도
fans
막 조절을 잘해야 돼.
and his team of lawyers managed to prove that the guy who beat him, Ryan, was on steroids.
뭘한 사람 쓰지 않나니까.
Garcia was given a 1-year ban and
옆에서 보다 더
pressure
티가 질문했다. 안다 말이야.
love to see Tank living in his place as he once did in
아나파도
Johnson.
아픈 쪽에도 막 아나파는데 아픈 쪽에부터 때리기도 하고 아나파는 때리기도 하고 아주 나쁜 아나파 때려야 돼. 근데 밖에서는 보여 그게. 이라면 하면서 이렇게 과감성이 있으면 과감성이 알았지 이게. 어디가 긴장하니까 세게 앞으로 앞으로 누르고 막 달라들려고 그러는 그러는 거를 응용을 시키란 말이야. 자신감을 말해서.
His power.
뭐 겁먹지 마. 야 너를 때릴 생각이 나한테 탁구가 친단 말이야.
And the numbers speak for themselves. 0,
1, 2,
and getting split off the natural. That's who he is. his achievements are nothing all one of the greatest in history and to stand. I think not yet, but can Gervonta be called the greatest lightweight boxer in history? It seems we have every reason to think so. You can agree with me on that, but it's foolish to argue on one side.
Definitely something.
인공지능 실제
쭉 날라오면 쭉 날라오면 쭉 걸어야
기술과
날라오면 쭉 걸어가라.
대한민국의 내일
꺾어 내려.
광주에서 시작된 이래를
이런 식으로 한단 말이야. 이게 다리가 정리로 가는 게 아니라 신경을 맞잖아요.
배드로서 AI 기술이 실생활에 적용되는 다양한 실생 현장을 제공하는
여기서 때리면 아주 안 돼. 알아보지. 뭐 때리는 거 어떻게 이상저상 다 되잖아. 그냥 그렇지. 진짜
이것은
사이드
사랑스러운 비밀이
그렇지.
있어요.
그거야 바로. 내가 쬐실 때 걸어봐. 진짜.
메리루스는
걸어야 진짜
할아버지의
딱 맞는단 말이야. 오케이? 쟤 날라면 걸어보란 말이야.
부부에겐 에너지 충전을
그렇지. 목을 못 걸어. 그냥
귀염둥이 만나게
목을 걸어봐.
엄마의
그럼 맞아.
마음처럼
아, 그렇지.
영향을
막 뛰겠단 말이야. 훅은 그 싸움 때문에 가볍게 쳐도 아파. 본인은 쓰기 안 쓰는데 나한테 떨어진단 말이야. 최근 시기기 때문에.
메리마죠.
나 오늘 만약에 안 맞았어.
메리루스
쳐봐. 내가 피했어 이렇게. 아 그렇게 해야 되고 위빙으로 나와야 돼. 해봐. 뭐 쳐봐. 피했어 위빙으로 나와. 야 그럼 또 때리고. 아니. 또 때리고 또 때리고. 또 왼손 풀었으니까 또 때리고. 여기 또 위빙하고 또 때리고. 이런 식으로. 계속 응용을 시키는 거야. 다 맞을 수도 없다. 안 맞을 수도 있으니까 때리고 다. 장기 봐도 무슨 말 하죠. 한 수를 앞에 두는 사람은 장기. 두 수를 앞에 두는 사람은 세 수 앞에 두는 사람은. 이렇게 하나를 딱 때린 다음에 그 다음 거 생각해. 내가 그놈이 자꾸 피해보면 이거 소리를 좀 때린다는 식으로 이런 식으로 한 수를 앞에. 그것만 생각하다 보면 두 수가 된단 말이야. 이해가죠? 쟤 완수 네. 쟤 주고 아빠 빠지면서 멈추고 쟤 빠지 다른 거 멈추고 빠지 땡 숨겨 땡 주문에 빠져 빵빵빵 양무 아디야는 빵빵빵 양은 빵빵 완두 양은 멈추고 빵빵빵빵 빠지 따고 크게 세 개, 다섯 개, 빵빵빵 크게 멈추고 빠지 엎어 엎어 세 개, 빵빵빵 빼서 빠지 세 완두 완두 쓱 빵빵빵빵 이동 찾아가 좋아하는 일이 안 나가 혼자서 있는 사람 있지? 하는 거 있지? 자 온다 걸어 헉! 빵! 많이 감싸 빵! 야후! 빵! 완전 슈퍼 하나! 빵! 정말 잘해 가는 건데 넘어가서 조금 펀치는 좋아 딱딱하게 펀치를 들어오는데 맞으면 충격을 다 먹어. 내가 너를 세게 못 때리는 이유가 하나 있어. 너무 못 먹여 공주 때문에 다칠 것 같은데 그런 식으로 하면 때려서 충격을 쓰지 않는 거 스피드로 빨아서 펀치 쏘는단 말이야. 너는 힘 쓸 때 웨이트를 내리고 힘을 빼야 천출하면 힘을 내 보내는 거야. 땡기는 게 아니야. 자, 상체 유지하는 하체, 허리. 자, 스텝. 스텝. 돌아. 스텝. 스텝 투. 돌아. 앞으로. 그렇지. 그거야. 스텝 투. 돌아. 멀리 내리고. 자, 카운터 빡. 아, 그렇지. 치고 올려봐. 그렇지. 네. 자, 치고 뒷발을 빠지는 거지. 아니, 아빠 치고 짚고 회전을 시키고 시작 손. 아 그렇지. 어우 좋아 한 번 더. 자 완투 완투 쓱 쭉들 완투 쓱 엎지 먹어 훅 완투 잽잽 바디 빵빵 잽잽 바디 빵인 좋아 치랬잖아 이렇게 이러면 그렇지 다리가 어떻게 해야 돼 이 상태에서 하는 거야 이 상태로 당연히 밀려버리지 이 상태에서 이거잖아 이 상태잖아 준비한 생각 호흡 맞추고 때려서 안쪽으로 고친 상태에서 진행한 말이야 봐봐 이렇게 뜬 상태에서 막을 수가 없어 주먹이 뭐 엄청 빨라 이거 펀치도 네가 생각이 엄청 세고 운동하는 사람들은 이게 딱 붙인 상태에서 오는 거야 붙인 상태에서 앞으로 붙여봐 이 상태에서 너무 빼기도 하고 안기도 하고 틀기도 하고 리빙도 하고 조금 방어도 하고 하나 방어! 풀어 붙인 상태에서 전면 날라온다 쓰면 될 수있지 모르잖아 풀어 탁 방어하면서 정확히 또 방어 툭! 아 이거 하다가 툭! 툭! 방어 툭! 툭! 방어 리빙도 하고 붙인 상태 날렸어 이러지 말고 딱 앞에 주면서 앞에서 딱 주면서 아니 이렇게 해야 된다 딱 방어를 해주니까 여기서 방어 풀 수가 있잖아 보이면서 지지마냐? 뜨지마! 떨어지지 말라고 몇 번을 말해 이게 손이 떨어지면 얼굴이야 떨어지면 안 된다고 맞는다고 근데 방어 그래서 있지마 딱 돼 안 맞아요 자, 완투 자 물을 좀 물려야지 이제 찍어 양호 완투 양호 멈춰 멈춰서 올려 너무 뻗어 안 맞아 멈춰서 체리 신을 올렸으면 좀 다리 틀어 또 빼 촉세기 잘 풀어 잘 푹 풀으라고 많이 풀어 아주 기분 하나 빵빵빵 다리가 틀으라고 세개 마지막 세개 멈춰서 딱 풀어 너무 풀어지면 안 맞아 손을 딱 해서 여기서 빠지고 그래서 이렇게 너무 좋도 아니고 하나 가도 되고 하나 또 가도 되고 또 멈춰서 또 돼야지 자 4개 쳤으면 하나 둘셋넷 부드럽게 하나 둘 멈춰서 쭉 세게 딱 멈춰 그리고 가도 하고 여기 반대하고 위에 훅 빵! 빠지 양은 빵! 또 쑥! 세기 빠지 양 빠지 양은 빠지 양 또 쑥! 빠지 양은 빵! 또 세기 완투 들어오면서 위아래 걸어들으면서 위아래 아래 위 아래 쭉 돌려봐 자 일로 오세요 많이 늘었는데 조금 생각을 하면서 아 내가 뻣뻣하고 좀 부드럽게 해야 될 거라 생각을 해서 막
맛있어서
뻣뻣하게 좀 자, 완투 치고 더 힘들게 시작. 완투 치고 시작. 쑥 위빙 쑥 3개 빵빵빵 완투 어퍼 백 완투 빠지 훅 왼손 시작. 위빙 몸을 틀어야 돼. 빠지 훅 틀어야 돼. 완투 빠지 훅 3개 멈춰 플러스 뒷발 그렇지 더블 바디 훅 빵빵 야훅 빵빵 가드 빵빵빵 정면 스포원투 뒷발했다 가드 어포야구 바디야구 빵빵빵 가드 바디 어퍼 스파 어퍼 스파 아빠 눌러서 왼손 틀는 거 자, 아빠 눌러서 왼손 콕 틀면서 아빠 눌러서 잽 날아가 잽 빡! 손목 삐삐였어. 빡! 순간으로 째. 이거 빼. 정답. 꺾어. 그냥 들어가. 빡! 아빠 들어 가면서 밀렸어. 빡! 아빠 들어 가면서. 빡! 그렇지. 한 번 더. 빡! 잘 맞아. 순간으로 치면. 진짜 잘 맞은 거야. 빡! 멈추고 빠지고 빠지고 빠지 멈춰 빠지고 피하고 야구 또 앉아 피하고 손을 빠져버리고 완투 잘 생각해서 째 완투 하나 완투 오빠 완투 오빠 세개 아직이 마. 이거 자, 나서 4개 입이. 컴퓨터 해야 돼. 꺾으면서 아니지. 3개 치면 나가면 진짜. 자, 설치. 하나, 둘, 셋, 넷. 3개. 빵. 야구. 완투. 네, 마지막. 마무리해. 그렇게 해봐. 박진이 하고 팡팡팡팡팡. 알았어? 자, 팡팡팡팡팡. 천천히 봐. 팡팡팡팡. 천천히 마시자. 팡팡팡팡. 오케이? 부드럽게 째. 부드러워서 가보자. 째. 걸어. 째. 아빠. 피하고. 양은 씹어보면은 붙임 상태를 했잖아. 몇 번을 말하냐. 하면 수업 다 가지고 그냥 이쪽을 타야지. 싹 저기서 다리 똑바로 하고 야 다리가 여기를 못 만지게 다리를 감추기 줘야지. 만나자. 가만히 있어. 때리고 움직이라니까. 흔들지 못하잖아. 아니. 거기서. 맞잖아. 아, 그 정도가 나도 자, 배운동 할 거야? 너는 저기도 안 해? 예. 네? 뭐 하는 거야? 아, 예. 아니, 저, 네. 열심히 해주자, 어? 열심히 끝났어요. 그러면 빠질 좀 하네. 근력이 잡혀서 그래. 튼튼한. 시작. 하나, 둘, 셋, 넷, 다섯. 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 하나, 둘, 셋, 넷. 마지막. 하나, 둘, 셋, 넷, 다섯. 여섯. 시작. 하나, 둘, 셋, 넷, 다섯. 하나, 둘, 셋, 넷. 잘 가라. 다섯. 하나, 둘, 셋, 넷, 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 자, 마지막 세트. 올리고 시작. 하나, 둘, 셋, 넷, 다섯. 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 고맙습니다.
Trinidad, usually by this time in any fight, has long studied his opponent and is actively breaking down his opponent at that time. Trinidad is good at cutting off the ring. De La Hoya is moving around. He's giving him movement both ways. And just the
네, 하세요.
Trinidad is having all kinds of trouble reaching Oscar with his punches.
It's giving Trinidad some other problems. We're in round 5.
He's not giving Trinidad any opportunity to build up any momentum. Combination punches. It's just a punch here or there that Trinidad is getting in.
Should De La Hoya be concerned over it?
Yeah, he probably could be, but he's very concentrating on sticking to his fight game plan, which obviously is movement distance.
Trinidad continues his assault with right hand by Felix Trinidad. Raised the head of De La Hoya. And the aggressor in this round, but early in the round, De La Hoya landed a good right hand by De La Hoya. And another. He's punching with power with that right hand. Leader power punches so far have belonged to De La Hoya. I think that swelling under the left eye of Trinidad is going to be cause for concern pretty soon if De La Hoya hits him with a few more right hands.
Trinidad continues to follow. Some of the fans beginning to get on the fighters for lack of action. They expected more, and perhaps getting on Oscar for this particular strategy.
Certainly using all of his strength. And they're not used to seeing that so much from De La Hoya recently. There's the jab again by De La Hoya. Trinidad throws him with that jab. Hits him with the jab and misses the right hand, does Trinidad. Tactically, De La Hoya is controlling this fight right now. Of course, remember, there's power in that right hand of Trinidad. Right by De La Hoya. The hand speed of De La Hoya, I think, is the difference so far. Rich.
Well, because when he uses it, he's using it in combinations.
Jab again by De La Hoya. Closer now. He's throwing some shots. And he has had himself a pretty good round. The difference is he's throwing more than one punch at a time. Trinidad's throwing more than one. We headed to round 7. That's the salient question now, I think, Rich. Let's see. De La Hoya will surely want to box for 2 more rounds, I would think. He seems to have the better power later in fights. He's showing it in a couple of fights.
Trinidad did well in the opening minute of the previous round, and then he let De La Hoya get back on top once again. Trinidad comes out starting fast again here at the start of round 7. But he has been unable really to control the whole round at this point.
And I think Trinidad respects De La Hoya's power. He's coming in, he's frozen at times. Not wanting to throw caution to the wind. Again, the lateral movement from De La Hoya. He's content to fight in spurts, and it's been effective for him. Blocks the left hook by Trinidad. Getting that De La Hoya is really good. trepidation as wild left kicks were missed by Trinidad. And the one from Illinois gets it. The difference is hand speed right there.
Trinidad has been more aggressive this round, but also makes him pay for the mistakes.
Well, that level is just funny treatment. When Illinois does punch, he's effective. Can Illinois move for 12 rounds like this?
Well, he's done it. I think he can because Trinidad's not putting enough pressure. He's not hitting him enough punches. He's not doing anything to wear us from the Illinois attack.
Right hand again gets hit by Illinois.
I expect him to shoot on Trinidad's coming fast. Very surprising. Trinidad's supposed to be the two-handed fighter. Great attack.
There's the lateral movement again being a problem for Trinidad. He just can't hit and when he does cut the ring off, Rich, he's still not able to corner and hit him.
Yeah, but he's not cutting it off much in this round. Oscar able to move side to side, circular fashion. He's been doing what he wants. I wonder if Felix is be discouraged.
Right by Delaware. He's just pecking away, finding his spots, throwing combinations, then getting out of dodge. The wide hook of Trinidad, very bad for him. Normally, it's a punch he doesn't want to throw.
The first one Oscar got his hand like we mentioned he had been doing throughout the bout. The second one, he gets open. Oscar got wide open for some reason.
Every time the last 10 seconds come up, Delaware attacks. Again, after the bell, comes Trinidad with a punch. So the Trinidad has landed a couple of good shots, but they don't seem to have affected Delaware that much. If anything, I think, would you agree the power of Delaware has been felt more by Trinidad?
Oh yes, without question. And the combinations have been stinging. Very sharp.
And we've not seen the Trinidad right hand as much as we might have, although he has landed it on several occasions. And the battle of the jabs now being won by Delaware. Since about the second round, after we left him in the body by Trinidad.
Must admit, I didn't expect more of a shootout between these two.
I did too, truthfully.
I thought there'd be some hellacious exchanges. It hasn't been that way. The Dana White picking up the confidence now, letting the combinations flow.
Is he working the body of Trinidad? Not paying for it at all. He's working on the inside of the body and not Left hook by Trinidad.
to 114. He has it even. Bob Mojist scores the bout. 115 to 114. And Jerry Roth scores the bout. 115 to 113 for the winner by majority decision. Puerto Rico.
진짜 좋으면 모두가 좋아할 수밖에. 올리브영.
한돈 삼겹살 반값. 콩불 계란. 매력
아직까지 썼나? 좀 쉬었다가 이따 봅시다.